Alright guys, it's Wayne Griffiths here again, and in this module I want to basically give you all the questions and answers that you might have. First of all, what is vector? Vector art is totally different than image art. It's totally different than Photoshop or any other program that you've probably been taught in, in this industry, because vector art is really the basics of how art is designed, how logos are designed. A lot of people take shortcuts and go straight to the image files. And image files, I mean Photoshop or anything that uses a photo or fades or anything like that. You basically, when you design a logo, you have to basically design a logo in vector first. If a person doesn't design a logo in vector first, then you're really not buying a logo. You're buying an image. And an image file can get you so far, but it can't get you everywhere you want to be. All right? So vector is the basic. It is the stepping stone of every logo or every design ever made. And you have to have vector, especially when it comes to logos, or especially when it comes to designs, or especially when it comes to t-shirts designs. All right, you need vector. Okay, so what is vector? Okay, well, I'll get to that in just a second. But what do I use? What do graphic designers really use to perform vector? Well, I use, and not speaking for all graphic designers because we all do things a little different, but what I use is Corel Draw. I use Corel Draw 16, and you can use, and what I'm about to show you is that you can use Corel Draw 16, 15, 14, or 13. 13 is pretty much the cutoff of what I'm about to show you, because Corel Draw has a lot of different features. It is it costs a little less than Photoshop. Adobe Illustrator is also a vectorized process that goes through that same process. So you can also use Adobe Illustrator, but I'm about to show you the way I do it and the things that I use to do this every day. I've been a graphic designer for about 20 years now, so I have a little bit of say with that. So I won't dive into that, but what I use is Corel Draw, and here's the reason why I use Corel Draw. Now I have Corel Draw 16, which happens to be the latest product out, because this is what I do every day, and and there's reasons for what I do. I can do both vector and image files in Corel Draw. I can do banner ads, any kind of image ads I can do in Corel. Also, I can do the basic of basics, which is vector. All right, vector is the most prominent way. If you don't have a logo designed in vector, or if you don't have anything designed in vector, I mean, certain things you can't do, like pictures of people and things like that. You can't really do that in vector because that's not vector art. Now, can I transcribe that into vector? Yes, I can, but that's a little bit advanced for what I'm about to teach you. So, when it comes down to the basics, especially when it comes down to screen printing and making t-shirts, you need vector art. Okay, so what I'm about to show you, and the program that I'm showing you, I use the newest one out. It's CorelDRAW X6, which is means 16, but you can go as far as 13 to do the same thing that I'm about to show you. So you don't necessarily have to have the newest program, but 13 is the cutoff. Okay, so let me show you um, what that means, and so you can see that for yourself. Okay, now um, first of all, let's take the Seattle Seahawks. All right, they just won the Super Bowl. I want to click on one of their logos. I went to google.com and just googled their logo. All right, and I want to take this one. I want to right click and I'm going to copy this image right here. I'm going to go back to my program and let me swipe a new page for you. I'm going to right click again and copy, or paste, excuse me, paste, and there is the Seattle Seahawks logo right there. Okay, now you see right there, you see how it's jagged? You see that when I zoom in real tight? That's an image file. Alright, so what Corel does also has features where we can do wireframe. This is a wireframe. Alright, well, what I mean by wireframe is that this only has this frame right here. So what I want to convert this to is I want a frame around this guy. I want that logo right there. Okay, so I'm going to keep it in wireframe just for this sake, to show you what the difference between vector and image files are. Okay, this is an image file. I cannot alter it. I can shrink it. I can do all kind of crazy stuff with it, but I can't change any colors. I can't do anything any different with that logo other than what they gave me. So what vector art does is I can trace this into a detailed logo. As you'll see, it pulls up here. I just vectorized that logo right there. Now it's going to lay it on top. I'm going to go back to my view. I'm going to go back to enhance. Now, as you see, if I pull this to the side, you see that? This is an image. I cannot change anything because that's an image file. This is a vector file. You see the lines? You see the lines right there? That's a vector file. Okay? Two different worlds, my friend. Two different worlds. Now, I can also take this file, I can ungroup this file, and say for instance I want to change that color. See how I can separate it now? Control Z, Control Z, get it back to where I want it. But say I want to change that to black for whatever reason, or blue or pink, right? I cannot do that with an image file. I need a vector file. So that's what I need for vector. So right now I have just literally well, let me take the whole thing. I've just literally changed that whole file into a vector file, and it took me about, I don't know, 15 seconds, and I just made your image file into a vector file. And I can change everything. I can distort it, I can change colors, I can do whatever I want to it, because that, my friends, is a vector file. And that's what you can pay somebody to do this. And let me give you Fiverr.com. This is another way. If you do not have this program, you can go to Fiverr.com and you can send them your image file and they will change it into a vector file for $5. And there's a lot of different people that can do that. Okay? A lot of different people. Now, the reason why they can do that for $5 is because why? It just took me, what, 15 seconds. Literally took me 15 seconds to do that. And let me show you in a line art or a wireframe. You see how that works? I cannot alter this, but now I have this. That's what you need to print t-shirts, is vector art. You cannot use this. This will not, you cannot use this to print t-shirts. You have to have a vector file, and this is a vector, this is an image. Can't say it any more clearer than that. Okay, it took me 15 seconds, and yes, you can do this as a Fiverr gig if you do have this program, and you can literally change vector files into image files in about 15 seconds and make $5 a pop. If that's your thing, that's not what I'm talking about right now, but that's what we need. We need vector art. We need to be able to get this into vector art, and that's what I just showed you in this module.